Greetings, everybody. Several years ago, there were lots of protests across the United States and some other parts of the West where people wanted that higher wages be legislated. There were voices for and against it, and at least in some parts of the country, these initiatives won. Now, a couple of years after the fact, the question is, what went wrong? Did people get what they really wanted, or did something else happen, something that their critics long ago were saying? The most simple answer is that you cannot defy the laws of economics in the same way you cannot defy the laws of physics. You cannot drive your car a year around without putting gas in the tank, or if you have a chargeable car, you cannot charge it once and then drive forever. Sooner or later you run out of stored energy. Here, you cannot just with the stroke of a pen make an economic activity twice as valuable as it was. So the sad part is that people who fought for $15 an hour and hoped that that will truly improve their lives, in the end, they got what they fought for. They got the $15 per hour, but they did not get what they wanted, which was a better way of life. So what happened in the last couple of years? Well, inflation happens. Whether people are still willing to deny it or accept it, or whether the United States is still in recession or not, people may debate that thing as much as they want, but the fact is prices have gone up, and they have gone up significantly. Whether it is the grocery store, whether it is the gas pump, not everything can be explained with, quote, price gouging, which is another attempt from some participants in the public square to distract the people and to deflect from where the issue is. The fact is you cannot price gouge the entire country over the entire market. And what is even further more sad is that the people who marched and protested for, quote, higher wage and the $15 are the same people who voted for those who later borrowed more money, spent more money, and thus increased the money supply, resulting in having more dollars competing for the same number of goods and services in the country, which of course drove the prices up, which is a double irony. Here we see an interesting example also where, because the rent will not wait, we need higher wages. And guess what? These protesters were right, because the rent did not wait. But it is not because the rent was going up and therefore we need higher wages. It was the other way around. Right now, in 2022, I received a notification from one town in Connecticut where I own property that the, quote, valuation of the property is going up by 60%. This is 60. Why is property valuation such a big deal? In the United States, towns have budgets. They project their expenses, and they try to figure out how to raise the money for that expenses. And they have various fees and excise taxes that they can have, but one of the major ways towns in America get their money is through property tax, which is what? The town decides how much money they need to raise, and they come with a formula that distributes that tax burden among the property owners. And it is loosely connected to how much a property costs. Now, there may be various explanations why they do this, and it doesn't matter whether they're proper explanations or not. But the thing is, the more expensive we think your house is, the more property tax will make you pay. Now, often the valuations with which the town comes doesn't have to do anything with the market value of the property, and very often, in order to give the impression that people get a rebate, the town comes with, let's say, only 70% of the market value as a valuation. Let's say if you have a house that costs $300,000 on the market, the town will say you value your house at $200,000. And you may think, oh, that's great, I'm saving taxes on $100,000. No, absolutely not, because the town just uses a higher tax rate and a higher percentage, or sometimes here call it mil, from 1/1000th of the value of the house. Let's say 27 mil would mean 2.7%, and that's what, let's say, they charge you each year. So you're paying rent to town equal to 2.7% of the value of your house. So people can argue that over 35 years, let's say, the town confiscates your house, which is one way to tell it. But of course, you can look at it as a membership fee, the way how taxes work. You pay for the government to continue functioning so that you can keep doing the things you do. But back to the point, 60% increase of the valuation of the property will likely result in a tax bill 6 months from now that will be 60% higher. And let me tell you, for those of you who don't know, in the United States, one of the largest expenses in property management is the real estate taxes. It is usually 2 or 3 times higher than the insurance, which is also quite big. So when you raise the cost on a business, who pays that cost? It is the customer, because either the business will go bankrupt or stop to exist, or to survive, the cost will have to be passed to the customer. So never trust a politician when they tell you, we are going to rein in businesses and so on. The more politicians hurt businesses, the more they hurt the clients of those businesses, and that's you. And so when it comes to real estate, and when they raise those property taxes that much, these property taxes will be paid in the end by the tenants, the same people whom the politicians say that they love the most. Well, if you want to help the tenants, the only way to do that is to help the landlords, to make landlording easy and manageable, and thus the costs will go down. Why? Because even if you as a landlord try to stiff your tenants, there will be other landlords who say, if you don't want your tenants, we will get them. We will give them a discount and they will come to us. So the market, which is the best arbiter in those cases, will play its role as always. And now what we see here, wages went up, and maybe people even celebrated for a bit. But it was sad, of course. Getting increase on paper does not mean much when the prices of everything goes up as well. And the issue now that remains, do $15 today buy more, or God forbid less, than what your prior salary bought just 2-3 years ago? And if you had your salary increased because of minimum wage laws, or if you know somebody who did, please let me know in the comments how that situation affected you after 2 years. Are you or your friends better off and worse off? And we'll see you in the next video.